Why, hello there. Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's feature is Krampus, directed by the man who made Trick or Treat, the other holiday horror film. This one stars Adam Scott, Toni Collette, and the guy from Anchorman 1 and 2. For some reason, when I review a Christmas movie, especially that is a horror movie, my voice turned into weird Vincent Price / James Earl Jones narrating voice. But I will now cease that and go back to normal voice to review the rest of this feature. Hey guys, how's it going? So, Krampus, however you want to pronounce it, is about the shadow of St. Nicholas. He only shows up when the Christmas spirit dies in a family. He also brings his little minions, his gingerbread cookies, his jack-in-the-boxes, his little teddy bears. He has an array of minions. But the story of this one centers around one particular family that isn't really getting along this particular Christmas. And because they all hate each other, and because one main protagonist kid who still believes in Christmas rips up his Santa Claus letter and throws it into the wind, into the sky, Krampus decides it's time to go fuck this family up. I was looking forward to Krampus because the director of the film made a really good movie, Trick or Treat, as I mentioned before. It's a great horror Halloween movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. This one is a Christmas horror movie, and we haven't gotten a really good Christmas horror movie in a long time. The one I go to always first in my head is Gremlins. That's a great movie, but it's not really on the scary side, even though it has scary moments. It's more of a family fun movie. This film does have fun, and I'm going to say right now it's a very fun movie. It's not particularly scary, but it's more centered on the horror side of the genre, even though it is a blast to watch. I know for sure if I was like 5 to 10 seeing this movie now, it would definitely give me nightmares for like 3 and 4 months. So if you want to punish your kid for being a little bitch this year, you could definitely take him to this movie. It'll teach him to be better next year. Instead of giving him a lump of coal, show him this movie. Let's get into the good things first. The atmosphere of this film is on point. You really feel like you are in the Christmas spirit in a weird, terrifying, awesome way. The movie starts off showing the terrifying chaos of a Black Friday-esque situation, but the juxtaposition of the song and the imagery is fantastic, and it really sets the tone for what you're about to see, which is basically a fun movie that tries to celebrate the holiday of Christmas in a different, satirical way. And for a movie that comes out in 2015, there are an abundance of practical effects. The creatures are mostly practical, and they're really cool looking, and very terrifying too. Krampus himself, I keep saying Krampus, but I think it's pronounced Krampus for reals. Krampus, his design is incredible, and I'm glad I went into this movie not knowing what it looks like in the facial area, because you do see him for the most part. He has these horns, he has very long fingers, he wears like a weird, worn down Santa costume, but he looks so cool. I wouldn't call him particularly scary. He's scary in the sense that if you're a little kid and you saw him in real life and you stumbled upon his presence, you would be like, oh shit. The film as a whole is just a pleasant surprise because you might go into this thinking that it's going to be just some generic horror movie about a creature that haunts kids and families during Christmas. But it's actually, in reality, this very fun movie that just takes place in the horror genre and just wants to be a cool little movie for people who stumble upon it. I was always confused by the idea of Adam Scott and David Koechner being in this movie because they're both respected for being in a lot of comedy films. And now I understand why they're in it. For the most part, they're both grounded in their performances, but they do have their exaggerated moments when it is appropriate. There are plenty of moments where the film is trying to be serious, and I bought into it, and there are other moments where the film is trying to be funny, and just in general, just a goofy, crazy time. Those aspects are hit and miss, because there are moments where I'm like, this is kind of funny, and there are other moments where I'm like, I'm not sure I get this. And finally, the ending leaves this open interpretation of ambiguity that is not unsatisfying for once. Unless they make sequels down the road and clarify what Krampus' motivation is and what he actually does to punish families, I'm going to be thinking about what happened in the end of this movie for years to come. What? As far as problems go with the film, they're not significant problems, but they are problems that are open to being criticized, in my opinion. There are a lot of jokes that are sprinkled into the movie to relieve tension, but some of the jokes didn't work for me. There are a couple moments with the creatures, the little minions of Krampus, that didn't work for me either. But more importantly, the rules of this particular horror world aren't clarified enough. And I think when you make a horror movie, if you're establishing a world, you should have your rules be extremely clear. The world building of Krampus is kind of weird in the sense that you don't fully understand what his motivations are as a villain, and you don't understand how his methods work too at points. For example, when this whole thing goes down, the kid rips up his Christmas letter because he doesn't believe in Santa anymore, and he throws it out a window. So a whole big cloud comes over and starts a blizzard for like 4 or 5 blocks. And like every single house in this vicinity is just like ripped apart. And they're empty, deserted. So you would only assume that these families in these other houses are also dead, besides the main family in the movie. So just say that this world exists in real life. If a kid down the block fucked up and summoned Krampus to this whole area, does that mean my family's screwed too because somebody else messed up? One would think that if you're summoning Krampus, he would only be summoned for that particular house, not a whole, like, 4 or 5 blocks of families. Like, that's kind of messed up. But I guess the ripple effect of life isn't always fair either. But overall, Krampus is a very fun horror movie. It takes itself seriously to a point, but it's got some goofy, wacky moments too. The acting isn't the best from everybody at display. The main people are all good, but not everybody's great. However, the movie, you can forgive them because the movie as a whole is trying to do something really different that you don't see in horror movies anymore. And if you like horror movies, I would give this one a chance because you may end up liking it more than you expect. I also would say it's worth it to watch it just to see how it ends because I think the ending is one of the greatest endings to horror movies in a while. It's got a Jeepers Creepers feel and tone, but it's definitely going to leave you thinking for days. I'm going to give Krampus a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good Applebee's meal. Definitely check it out when you get the chance before Star Wars comes out. But now I want to know from you guys. What did you think of Krampus if you saw it this weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And also check out my Facebook and Twitter accounts in the info box. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and let's get ready for Christmas! And the year's almost over, so top 10s and worst 10s are also coming too. Yay! See you guys next time.